Hello everyone, welcome back to 3-Minute Biographies. When you think about some of the pastors that you know, either in person, online, or from TV, what are some of their characteristics? Are they a good preacher? Or have they built up a church that they oversee? Or do they organise good programs? With these things in mind, let me introduce you to Charles Jefferson. Jefferson was born in 1860 and he died in 1937. And he started out work as a school superintendent before going into pastoral ministry. And he served in a few different churches before being called to the 34th Street Tabernacle in Manhattan. And there he served for almost 40 years. He knew that it would have had its challenges, being a city environment of gang violence contrasted with Broadway glamour not far apart. But what set Jefferson apart from many other pastors was his emphasis on the need for pastors to love the church or their churches. He lectured at a university on this very topic, and the lectures are called The Building of the Church. And his first lecture deals with the concept of building the church in the New Testament. The sermon, says Jefferson, comes not out of the preacher alone, but out of the church. He is nourished by his environment, the family of Christ. Now, what a tremendous concept for a young or old pastor to grasp. Jefferson said further that the church is a growing organism and the preacher must know the stages of development before he can feed it. A doctor always looks at the patient before going to the medicine chest or prescription slips, and a wise preacher begins not with his books but with his church, the people. Jefferson modelled for every minister the concept of being a shepherd, following the example of Jesus, the Good Shepherd. All too often today, it's possible to see young men and perhaps even women entering the ministry in order to make something of themselves. They want to be known as a good pastor or a good preacher, or they want to have an online presence, or they want to build the best attended church in the city in which they live, or they use ministry as a stepping stone into something bigger. Now, rarely do you hear a young ministry student say, I want to be a good shepherd to God's people. A shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. He doesn't use the sheep for financial gain or for building his own name. A shepherd feeds his sheep, loves his sheep, and cares for them. The most helpful thing that I've read today about Charles Jefferson has reminded me of the importance of the local church and the work a pastor is to do, if the church is to grow and glorify God. The pastor is a shepherd, a prophet, a messenger from God, and a builder. So young pastors, if you are listening, be these things to your congregation, but the greatest of these being loving your congregation. You can read more about Charles Jefferson and his life in his books of lectures titled The Minister as Shepherd, The Minister as Prophet, and The Building of the Church.